If you've ever been called the strong one, if you've always been told you're so resilient, you're always so strong, you can always be relied on, then this video is for you. No one talks about the cost of being the strong one. Sure, it's admirable to be resilient. People look up to you if you're super strong and you go through a lot and you just keep going, right? But what about the cost to that? You're the one people can depend on. You're the one people can always go to. And sure, that might feel good that people can always turn to you, but who do you go to at night when it all gets too heavy? When you're breaking down, who can you turn to? Some people cry and break down in crisis and they know who they can call. They know that it's you, or they might have their person that they know that they can call. But you know you can't go to people. You know you can't cry or burden people or actually open up to people or actually tell people what's wrong. You know you can't do that because you are that person. You're the one who figures it out. You're the one who does the research, does the Google search, does whatever they need to do to figure it out, make a plan, get up, get off the ground, have their little mentee bee, get up and figure their shit out. You don't get to go cry to somebody because you are the person people go to. But have you ever stopped and wondered why? Why are you the one? Why does other people get to call you, but you don't have that same feeling in you that you can call people? You will do anything for them. You don't care what it is. You're there for them. Any second of the day, you will stop what you're doing to help somebody, but you will not even tell them that you're feeling sad without feeling like a burden. Shocker, it is a trauma response, okay? It is a trauma response from childhood, just like almost everything else in your life. Unfortunately, we have so many trauma responses, right? And it's not that you don't need the support or even want the support. Although you're probably like me and you've probably spent a lot of your life saying, I'm good, I don't want anybody's help, I'm fine by myself. Like, oh, honey, I spent so many years like saying the same exact thing. If you're anything like me, you learned that being emotional or showing emotions did nothing or wasn't safe. It didn't help anyways to show your emotions. And if anything, you got in trouble for it. For me as a child, showing my emotions was not safe. It was not a safe thing to do. My mother either made it about herself or showed me that it wasn't safe. I got in trouble for showing my emotions. So I learned not to. I learned that it was safer to say, no, I'm okay, I'm fine, I promise. Everything's good. I learned to support my mom and take care of her emotions, which as an adult turned into supporting my partners and taking care of their emotions, right? Everything we learn in childhood carries with us through to adulthood. Specifically, and I talk about this on my channel so much, specifically in the first 7 years of our lives, everything that we learn, that is the years that we are conditioned. That's childhood conditioning years, theta brainwave state years. Our brains are like sponges in those years, and we're learning our entire belief system, right? So everything we learn in those years, we carry with us to adulthood, and that becomes our belief system that we view the entire world. So when you learn that your thoughts, opinions, emotions are irrelevant in those years, as an adult, you learn to shut down. You learn that your opinions, emotions, thoughts, feelings are not important or relevant and that you should just keep them to yourself. So expressing emotions isn't safe. Expressing emotions causes conflict and problems and causes you to be in trouble. So as a kid, you get in actual trouble. As an adult, it causes trouble, right? So you learn that it's not safe to express your emotions. So why would I do that? Why would I burden other people with my emotions? Other people need help, of course I'm there because I had to be as a kid. And now I feel obligated to help everybody else around me. That's how I am loved. As a kid, that's how I learned that I was loved, was to take care of my mom's emotions, to be there for my mom. So as an adult, that is how I learned to be loved, was to take care of people's emotions. So if that was you, if you were anything like me as a kid, then as an adult, you became the reliable one. You became the one who never quit. You became the one who had to show up no matter what. You had no choice. I was so resilient. I've always been told, you are so resilient. I don't know if I posted it yet before or after this one, but I recorded up my life story video, and you'll see just how much like I went through. I've been told I'm so resilient. You've survived so much. I brought all of that to myself because of my mindset at the time. But B, I had no choice. I didn't ask for it. Well, mentally I attracted it, but like, I had no choice. What was I supposed to do? Say, no, I don't want to go through these things. I don't want to be a single mom. I don't want to. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to. Now I make those choices because like I know that quantum physics is a thing and I genuinely like can do that. But like I didn't have a choice. And Like, I didn't want to be the strong one. I didn't want to be resilient. I didn't want to keep going through these things. But, like, I also had it in me, like, distilled in me as a child to be the strong one, to be the one who dealt with everybody else's emotions. So, like, I had it in my demeanor. Yeah, dump your shit on me. Dump your emotions, dump your trauma, project onto me. I will take your shit from everybody. I was that person, and I took everybody's shit for my whole life. It would be, like, so happy during the day, taking everybody's things. People, like, I had that personality, and I still do, where people just, like, open up to me. And that's because I feel like I'm just born to, like, I'm life path number 5, okay? So I was born to help people. I was meant to help people. Like, this is just who I am. I feel like I was born to help people. I'm a natural healer, right? Didn't know it at the time, obviously. But I just ran up and down my stairs. I need to breathe for a second. Hang on. So people would just, like, trauma dump on me all the time, project onto me all the time. Partners would, like, dump trauma and project their shit onto me, their unhealed wounds and whatever. And I would just take it. I'm a server, so I'd, like, be pleasant to people all day. I would never want to, like, hurt people. I would never want to offend people. I would never want to burden people, was my biggest thing. There is a video somewhere on my channel of, like, me recently discovering, like, where that wound comes from, of me, like, feeling like I'm a burden. Essentially it comes from, like, my mom, and, like, I felt like a burden for existing, long story short. But I just felt like such a burden all the time, right? I was just so pleasant, happy, like, masked it all because I didn't want to, like, let anybody know anything was going on. But then at night, and I think a lot of you will resonate with this, behind closed doors, when nobody was around, I would lose it, break down, bawl my eyes out. Your nervous system gets so heavy with all of this stuff, all of these things, that you just lose it. And that's not weakness, that's accumulated pressure that you've built up throughout the day or days or weeks or whatever, of, like, masking being okay because you don't want anyone to see, like, what's really going on. I could not talk if my hands were tied together. I really truly couldn't. And here's a hard truth too. Like, my main point that I'm trying to transition my channel to focus on for right now, because I feel like I make things all over the place, and that's kind of one reason I took a break from videos. There is a big reason. Maybe I'll talk about it soon. Let me know if you want to hear about it. But I really wanted to niche down is one reason, and I want to talk for a while. I think I'm going to focus on, like, high functioning survivors, because that's where I've been at recently, is being a high functioning survivor, and I had to take a little bit of a break to deal with that. The thing about high functioning survivors is we don't burn out because we're fragile. We burn out because we've never been supported. You can endure almost anything, but that's not healing. You can run a household, you can go to work every day, you can pay your bills, you can take care of a family, but you can still be dying on the inside. And I know that from personal experience. At night, you're replaying conversations, you are getting overstimulated in silence, you're questioning everything about yourself. And that's because your nervous system has been in survival for way too long. When you're high functioning like that, people don't see your struggle, they see your competence, and competence hides trauma so well. You're meeting deadlines, you're paying bills, you're taking care of your kids, you're, following your court orders or your child custody things, right? And you look like you're handling it all so well, and people are like, wow, you're so resilient. You're doing so good for everything you've gone through. You're so inspiring. I've gotten that one so much. And while those things are great to hear, and they do feel really good, and of course you want to be inspiring to people, sometimes it is nice to acknowledge, like, hey, you did go through a lot, and I hope you're okay. Like, those things are also good to hear, and it's good to check on people like that, because high functioning, we talk about high functioning depression, we talk about high functioning anxiety. High functioning survivors need to be acknowledged as well, because you can go through intense, insane trauma and still have to show up and act like everything's normal afterwards, and, like, those things that you went through are still living within your body, and you're still having to, like, go to work the next day like nothing happened. No one knows that you're struggling, and the most dangerous part is, a lot of the times, and this happened to me personally too, is you convince yourself that you're not struggling. You convince yourself that you're fine. And I had to go through that, and I went through, I convinced myself that I was fine maybe 6 months after everything happened to me, where I almost lost my life, and I was like, okay, I'm doing really, really good. And then I was in a place where I was in my own apartment, and, you know, I was showing up for my kids and going to work and everything, but like I was lonely because I had gotten out of a relationship and whatever, and I started talking to a boy online, which led to a relationship. And that boy, for the next year, and like this is the first time I'm talking about it, that boy ended up mentally abusing me so bad. And I don't, like, I am working through a lot of shame with that, because like I advocate so hard online for like not being in abusive relationships, and like I was in such a abusive relationship and I almost lost my life. This is not what this video is about, so I really don't want to go too deep into it, but I thought I was in an okay place, and like I wasn't even looking for a relationship, but like the way that he manipulated me when I was in a vulnerable place. So I guess it wasn't 6 months. I got out of my relationship in April and this was in December, so whatever that math is. But I just was not in a good place, and he really took advantage of that and snuck in and like lied to me about where he was on a healing journey. He wasn't on one, and like I was very straightforward with like mine and like honest, and showed him everything with my healing journey and like where I was. And this was before I started posting anything or anything like that, and it was a whole mess. It was really bad. I mean, at first it was fine, but like it ended up being really bad. I had never been love bombed before, and this relationship taught me what love bombing is truly, and the cycle of abuse, and like how people can get in your head and warp your view on reality and completely deteriorate your view of yourself as a human being. And I don't even know where I was going with this. Like convincing yourself that you're okay. Like I thought that I was in such a good place, and I just wasn't. And that like was so damaging to me, because it completely like shifted from, I thought I was doing really good, and I think I was in a good place, but I wasn't in a good enough place that I should have let somebody in like that. And in another reality, whoever I let in was a good person, and it worked out really well. And in this reality, it was somebody who taught me even more about abuse. They taught me about mental abuse in another way that like now I get to, you know, I have so much more I can teach and educate on and learned for myself. And I think, you know, I have a whole nother story to share. But anyways, let's get back on topic. Let me know if you want a story about that. No one knows you're struggling, and you convince yourself that you're fine, and you're not. And I know for me personally, like, I've struggled my whole life with feeling guilty for asking for help, or for anybody knowing that I'm not okay. Like, I've felt guilty for even having feelings. Like, that should not be a thing, and that was something that stemmed from childhood. Why does it cost to be the strong one? One, you either over-explain or just can't have boundaries at all. I really noticed this in my last relationship. Boundaries became so profound, and I am proud to say that I finally am a firm boundary setter, but I had to learn that. But when you're the strong one, like, you feel guilty for setting boundaries. You feel bad for setting boundaries. Like, you respect other people's boundaries, but you're like, oh, is it okay if, like, you don't do that? Is it okay if, like, you know, like, you feel guilty for that? You have to over-explain your boundaries. Like, a boundary is a boundary. You set it and you don't need to give an explanation. Like, I don't want to be touched right now. Point blank, period, that's it. It should not need an explanation, no matter who you're setting that boundary for. Also, you tolerate way more than you should when you're the strong one. Way more than you should. Because you're so used to putting up with so much. You've gone through so much. You've endured so much. So, like, going through this doesn't seem so bad. I know for me, going back to this relationship situation, because I went through a shitty relationship before this, I endured so much in this relationship. And I, like, convinced myself it wasn't that bad. And it, took me stepping outside of it for me to realize, like, how bad it really was. And then, like, a year later, I told one of my very best friends what was actually going on, and she's like, that is not okay. And, like, I told her the things he was saying and what was going on, and she was like, you need to leave. Like, these are not okay things. And that's when I realized, like, okay, I have been putting up with way too much. What am I doing? I know better than this. I'm stronger than this. Who the fuck am I? Like, I almost treated myself like I was a different person. So, You tolerate more because you think, like, oh, it's not so bad compared to, like, what you've already gone through, when in reality, like, it's still bad. And you confuse endurance with maturity. Like, just because you can endure so much doesn't mean that it makes you mature. Like, I endured a lot of shit at a young age, and that did not make me more mature than the other kids at my age. It just made me, like, able to tolerate more. High-functioning survivors don't stay in bad situations because they're strong. They stay in bad situations because they can handle it. I get a lot of shit for saying this, and I mean it in a really good way, I promise. My doggy's coming. Oh, so Bean, come on. Hi, honey. He's a good boy. You want to come say hi? Hi. Hi, so Bean. I don't know if this video is going to be able to get posted because it's just all over the place. Hi, baby. Oh, you're such a good dog. I don't think anybody's gotten to meet Oso. No, say I'm Oso. And when Mom was in Scotland, I decided to eat a garbage bag and get a bowel obstruction because I'm a sassy boy. Is half husky, half Australian Shepherd. And he's such a good boy. And we got him because the universe sent him to me. He's my Velcro dog. I have heard that Australian Shepherds are like Velcro dogs, and he is. He's so attached to me. And his birthday is the day after mine. Tell me he's not my soulmate. You're just so sweet, and I love you. I love you. I'm a good boy. I'm such a good boy. Okay, anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I was gonna say something that might make people upset at me. Sometimes being strong is just suppressed fear. Being afraid to leave someone, and you think, I'm just gonna be strong through it. And my friend, do I want to tell the story? I have a friend who's like being strong through her relationship right now. I won't go into detail because it's not my story to tell, but she should definitely leave. She knows she should leave. You know who you are. She doesn't watch my videos, it's fine. It's definitely like fear of what's gonna happen if she leaves, and she knows she should leave. She knows she deserves better. And sometimes, you know, being strong is protecting your inner child and being the one to protect yourself because nobody ever did. And you don't have to become softer to heal. You know, some people think that healing means becoming softer and taking more shit. Absolutely not true. You need to regulate your nervous system. You need to become regulated. That's healing. Learning to set boundaries. That was a huge part of my healing journey. And it's about learning that you are allowed to be supported. And it's okay to have feelings. And it's okay to have your feelings be heard and seen. So if you're the strong one all the time and you just feel so tired right now, I just went through this too. And to the point where I've been in the doctor constantly because my iron's so low, and they're like, there's no reason that a young, healthy 28-year-old woman should have this low of iron consistently. And they like have been doing all these tests and stuff, and it's because I've had an energy vampire in my life, I'm convinced. But also because I've just always been the strong one. But I've just been overloaded, and you are too. And it's okay to rest, it's okay to feel your feelings, and you don't have to carry it all alone. Find your support system. If somebody's willing to be there for you, let them. If it's a trustworthy person. If not, my page is for everybody. Like, I'm back. I'm going to be back weekly. I'm making a commitment to be back weekly. I'm changing my whole life. Yeah, we're starting over. I'm keeping it on the down low for right now because, A, I have 300 of you. So, like, I know that nobody's going to really care anyway. But anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding the space. Let me know what you want to hear about next. Right now, we're focusing on high-functioning survivors because I feel like that's what most of us here are. This is a safe space for all of us to talk, to chat, to come together and be together. So I will see you next week. Bye.